Welcome back everyone. Today we've got a beautiful attacking game from the world champion himself, Magnus Carlsen, taking on Sina Movahed in a 3-minute blitz match on chess.com. Let's dive right in. Magnus begins with pawn to d4, a flexible opening move, controlling the center right away. Sina replies confidently with knight f6, a classic response. Now knight c3 from Carlsen, keeping things dynamic, maybe hinting at the Veresov system. Black strikes back with pawn to d5, challenging the center head-on. And here comes bishop to f4, the London system setup, a Magnus favorite in blitz. Sina doesn't hesitate, c5, immediately putting pressure on that d4 pawn. Magnus calmly plays e3, reinforcing the center. And now bishop to g4, attacking the queen. Magnus plays bishop e2. Bishop takes e2, knight takes e2, clean development. Black continues with knight c6, developing and eyeing d4. Magnus says, no problem, and plays pawn takes c5, grabbing that pawn. Sina plays e6, planning to recapture it soon with the bishop. Now watch this, knight b5. Magnus wastes no time threatening that c7 square to fork the king and the rook. And this is typical Carlsen pressure. Black calmly plays rook to c8, defending. Bishop to d6. That's a sneaky one. Magnus is trading off Black's strongest piece. If Black takes bishop you get knight check forking the king and rook. Sina tries knight e4, counterattacking. Magnus snaps. Bishop takes f8, preventing Black from castling. King takes f8, and now Black's king is stuck in the center, not ideal in blitz. Magnus castles, safety first. Sina recaptures his lost pawn with knight takes c5, but the initiative is slipping. Rook to c1, putting immediate pressure on the c-file. Sina plays a6, chasing that knight away. Magnus simply retreats. Knight d4, centralizing beautifully. Knight takes d4, queen takes d4, and suddenly Magnus controls the entire board. Sina tries b5, going for counterplay on the queen side. Magnus stays calm with b3, solidifying his structure. Black's queen jumps out, queen f6, looking to trade queen with Magnus. Magnus responds with queen b4, keeping the queens active and pinning the knight the king. Sina plays g6, trying to connect the rooks by preparing king g7. Magnus goes c4, expanding on the queen side. Black moves the king g7, connecting the rooks. Now knight f4, beautifully placed, attacking and defending at the same time. Sina captures on c4, and Magnus immediately recaptures, his pawns are rolling forward. Then comes pawn to d4, Sina is trying to break open the center. Magnus says, thank you, and takes it, pawn takes d4. Queen takes d4 Magnus plays g3 defending the knight. Sina develops his rook, rook to d8, stacking pressure on the d-file. Rook to d1, Magnus is ready attacking the queen. Now queen e5. Magnus pushes h4, starting a kingside attack. Sina counters with h5, saying, I'm not afraid. Rook to e1, repositioning the rook to the open file. Queen f6, defending solidly, but Magnus is clearly building pressure. Rook to d1, doubling rooks, pure textbook play. Sina exchanges, rook takes d1, rook takes d1, and now the endgame is brewing. Black jumps in with knight e4. Magnus immediately answers with rook to d7, invading the 7th rank. Sina strikes, knight takes f2 sacrificing the knight, but that was a blunder because Magnus finds a nice defending resource. King takes f2. Now pawn to e5 pinning the knight. Rook to d6, attacking the queen. Queen f5, maintaining the pin. Magnus counters with queen c3, pinning the pawn to the king. Sina's king steps to g8, walking out of the pin. Rook to d5, can't take knight the queen will be hanging. Black plays rook to e8, trying to defend. Magnus continues with queen d3, lining up with the rook and looking to trade queen. Queen f6 again, Sina is just hanging on. Magnus plays rook to d6, threatening the queen. Queen g7, but now knight e2, Magnus reroutes to attack. Sina pushes pawn to e4. Magnus calmly plays queen d4, looking for queen trade. Black checks with pawn to e3, and Magnus slides over king f3. Queen f8 from black. But Carlsen's machine-like precision continues, pawn to c5, breaking through. Queen e7, c6, and Magnus' pawns are rolling. This is unstoppable. Queen c7, but here comes queen d5, unrelenting pressure. Queen c8, rook to d7, and Magnus says, "You're not escaping." Rook to f8, but pawn to c7, the pawn is one step away from queening. King g7, queen e5, check. The king steps back, king g8, and Magnus is circling like a predator. Queen d5. King g7. Knight f4, and the attack is boiling over. King g8, but knight takes g6, and the whole kingside collapses. Sina shoves pawn to e2, desperate for counterplay. Now there is unstoppable mate in 6 on the board. Magnus doesn't blink, knight e7, check. King g7, and here it comes, queen g5, check. Forcing the king h7. Queen takes h5 check, king g7, queen g5 check, king h7, queen h5 check, king g7. Knight f5, check, mate in 3. King f6, but it's too late. Queen h6 check, king e5, queen f4 check, king e6, and now. Rook to d6, checkmate. Magnus ends it beautifully, a picture-perfect finish. What a masterpiece, pure domination from start to finish. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment. What's your favorite Carlsen finish? Because this was vintage Magnus.